Oh, right. All right, guys, let's take a look here. We are going to be looking at a first-person VOD of Clem playing in the weekly EPT EU. I believe this was the EU Weekly Cup. And we're going to actually be looking at a best-of-3 series first-person view of him playing up against Mr. uThermal. So, he's got a very loud mechanical keyboard. His voice is a little soft, but we can bring him in here. He's reading chat while playing a tournament game. What a Chad. These 17-year-olds. 17-year-olds, man. Actually, he's 18 now, isn't he?
Oh, he's in Mexico? Okay.
He's in Mexico? Oh, okay.
Well, I guess he still gets a decent amount of ping.
I think this is from 2 weeks ago, guys.
And
He's turned 19 now? No way.
kind of going wild. Reactor first. Kind of gameplay, but
Do pros
We'll try,
modify
we'll try.
a lot with the interface, like mods, to spam super fast or do certain things you couldn't do normally? No, you're not allowed to do any of that, Fader Lance. They go into the registry and they change the repeat rate and repeat delay.
it's not like a super game.
But that's about it. You can't use macros. I mean, you can't make it so you can do things. Yeah. I mean, that's against the terms of service. There are some things where you can modify some stuff in the text files within like the hotkeys to get multiple keys for rapid fire. That sort of thing, right? So rapid fire, exclamation mark rapid, if you guys want links on that. You can also customize your hotkey setup as much as you want. So definitely they customize the hotkeys and control groups. A lot of them use something very close to standard though. Yeah.
Hi, Ravi. Have a
So this is kind of cool, guys. All right, so we're hopping in here to watch the first-person view of Clem versus uThermal on a TVT. He hasn't scouted at all, and he's getting proxy reaped. He was reading chat. Oh, he's not used to streaming, and he got excited. He's like, yeah, I can just beat uThermal. And now he's fucked. He lost his first Reaper. He's in big trouble. Oh, terrible. He looks so tilted. Oh! Oh my god. He looks so tilted, dude. He looks so tilted. Oh my god. Oh me, oh my. Oh me, oh my. Ah, that's a lot of damage, man. Canceling the CC, rebuilding on the high ground. That's all. That's more damage than uThermal was really looking for here with this 2 barracks Reaper. So sloppy there of Clem. Oh, and he goes out and gets jumped on as well. It's game over, guys. This is why, if you are a rookie to streaming, you don't stream yourself playing a tournament match. He was reading chat, not scouting. Now, don't get me wrong. If you have his build's fine. You're okay to not scout. You just need to react instantly, not be glancing at chat when your opponent's Reapers are running in. And he's like, no, okay, maybe. He's thinking about ways he can get back in this game right now. It's just going to be, hey, okay, I think a medevac might be on the way, so we might try to counter drop. It's a lot of Reaper rally, and uThermal's going to try and jam it in there, and he does get some good damage. I feel like uThermal maybe could have continued there. If it's a Widow Mine coming out of the factory, not just a Hellion, that will help him stabilize a little bit. Yeah, this is a best of 3 from the ESL Weekly, I believe, guys. Oh, Reapers. Okay, those bouncy grenades are so dangerous because the Marines are not as mobile as the Reapers. If they get hit by the Reaper grenades, they're bouncing around. When they're bouncing around, they cannot fight. He's going to go for a drop right across. He says, look, all your units are here. I'm going to punish you. Now, the thing is, by this time, there should easily be a Cyclone ready at home for uThermal. So you've got to be kind of cautious with how you use that drop. It definitely should be a Cyclone out for uThermal. All right, he's brought it across the map, though. uThermal is a horny boy. For those who don't know, uThermal is known for being overly aggressive a lot of the time. And so Clem here, he's actually snuck this drop across. He gives up ground. He's waiting for his production. He's like, yeah, I want to fight. Waits for the Cyclone. He's going to go for it. Cyclone, he manually locked that on, but no, he messed up the micro. He tried to manually lock his Cyclone on the enemy Cyclone. Did not work. Ooh, saves a weak Marine, baits the turret out, fakes towards the main, immediately turns around, goes back to the natural. Dude, he's so disgustingly good. Guys, He's got 2 control groups. This is control group 0. I don't know what that's bound to. The other control group is on his natural. Reapers go in the main, though. He's still in a very dicey scenario. Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, okay. Oh, did he just get the Raven? Oh, the Drilly Boys are taking so much damage. He does go down to the Viking or the Cyclone, whichever one that was, but both sides getting hammered here. And you know what? Clem's so good at the multitask, he absolutely could bring it back, man. He absolutely could. He took so much damage from those Reapers, though. And you can see he's bouncing around. He's realizing, fuck, 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 fuck. All right, we got to play some really sick game from here. He's kind of talking to himself a little bit. So the Marines, he's going to swap the barracks and the starport. 2 Ravens, pretty good solid count. He's going to put the starport on the reactor and fix that. And he's going to swap the other one around as well. And command center. Okay, 3rd CC, a little slow to start. That's okay. Immediately, you could see, guys, just a little habit. Let me show you guys that one more time. Notice he boxes the tank and he adds that into number 1. So that went from, sorry, it went from 15 to 16. I know I'm kind of blocking that. Apologies for that, guys. I can drag myself down a little bit. There you go. I'm down here now. I'm blocking less of the game. So yeah, boxing units, adding shift 1, box shift 1. Whenever he's adding units in there, and he's just got Ravens on 0, army, whole army 1, and the Ravens are also on 0, and the tanks are also on 4. So he can quickly siege, quickly drop auto turrets, but otherwise he controls everything as one big squad and just kind of manually shifts things around. Ooh. Okay. All right, so he's moving forward. He's going to look for the tank ledge. I don't think he can get it. Oh, actually, wait, uThermal. Why is uThermal not respecting this? uThermal did not seem to realize what he was up against here. Tanks are going to siege. They're going to get that one. uThermal has 5 tanks. He's only got 4 now, but uThermal giving up this position. A little sloppy. Oh, those tanks trying to siege forward. I mean, that does stop Clem from going too far forward if uThermal scans this. Oh, double drop! Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Okay, tank will siege. If the tank, he's got to protect the tank. Good. You see the way he pulled the SCVs and Marines? They were ready to buffer for the tank because he knows he's got to get that tank up, man. Keeps the command center. How does he keep everything alive? How has he not just lost his entire main? That's a double drop of Stim Marines. I can't believe you've held this. That's insane. Oh, dude. Dude, he's gonna, look at this. He's like, lol, let's lock onto a tank. Oh, he pulls back just a fraction of a second too early. Keep the Cyclone alive though, which is good. And that tank there, creating a real safe space for that main base. The natural is wide open. The natural is actually wide open right now. I think uThermal should see if he can rotate that drop there. Auto turret spam! Auto turret spam, lads! Oh man, there's no support. It was all up in the main. uThermal caught out there. Caught out. Oh, and now the tanks are going to get a good siege position. And real patient from Clem. I think what I'm most impressed by is not just how aggressive really high-level Terrans are, but it's how, at a point where I'd be like, go! We've done it! I would have unsieged every tank and tried to siege them like right on the command center. He knew uThermal would have way more Marines than him, and he had to just like leapfrog them forward a little bit. So well done. Auto turret. Oh, big Marine surround though. Thermi comes in big. He's got one more auto turret worth of energy. Just drop it and leave. Drop it and leave. Oh, Clem loses his whole army. That Raven will get out. He's trying to move forward again. He's trying to scan. He's like, where'd that army go, dude? He's like, oh, fuck, he is coming. Okay. Because he knows he wants to get out there and have a forward position, but he's outnumbered right now. He's transferring workers to his 3rd. He knows uThermal's now securing his 3rd. He's like, I mean, this is playable. I've got Marine tank. I've got an economy. Doesn't got medevacs. He doesn't got good upgrades. And he doesn't got... Oh, he's trying to go over the pillar. He tried to get over the pillar to break the vision of the Cyclone. That's so cute. The fact that he'd even think of that. But yeah, he's got no upgrades started. No combat shields. I don't think he has stim. So Clem realizes at this point, his Vikings have to stop him from getting dropped because he doesn't have any mobility. He's got to try and centralize his tanks and just defend and turtle and use his Vikings to limit uThermal's mobility a little bit. Yeah, because uThermal's got the mobile drop army. Honestly, uThermal actually could just punch through his natural right now. If uThermal picked up all of his tanks, he doesn't know what we know. He doesn't see everything. He picked up all of his tanks in his medevacs. He could just boost in, drop them in tank range, and siege them behind the natural minerals while the Marines push in. There's no way Clem has enough numbers to defend that. But Clem's set up in such a good position. He's scanning the army. He seems so aware of everything. It's really hard for uThermal to make that call. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Watching from Clem's point of view, you're like, oh, he's so compromised. Like his Marine production and upgrades are so far behind where he wants them to be. The Liberator is a very good idea as well, guys. Because if you've got the Viking advantage, you can always do that. And this, yep. So he's gonna use his mobility a bit. Just small little squads, waste some mining time, pick off some depots. He's trying to use the Liberators and attack. God, he's so good at microing these very frustrating to control units to get them out there. And he knows that there was a push on the bottom left or some units positioning, but his Vikings are staying patrolling down there because if his main gets dropped, it's going to be a huge problem. Army there. Okay. He's like, yeah. So I think he should focus a few more tanks in front of his third base on the left side. Yeah, which is what he's doing. Stim should be done by now. He's starting a fourth command center. Clem is not thinking about, I need to go counter push the moment Stim shields and 1-1 kicks in. He's like, I need to turtle for another 3 or 4 minutes, dude. He's like, just defend with tanks and Vikings. Being behind on Marines and Marine upgrades won't matter so much if I just sit at home and lock things down. You see the moment that barracks went down? Watch this. Look at, he clicks on it and adds it to control group instantly. There, you see that just went from 7 to 8 barracks? So every time he puts down a structure that or has army that belongs on a control group, you'll see him very quickly there. He boxed those Marines, added them to his army. He's constantly doing that. And this is the advantage of incredibly mechanical Terrans, is they're able to handle the natural handicaps of using worse tools. You got to remember that being a Terran player is basically, it's like trying to be a construction worker, but you've got like a little kiddie tool set of like, you know, the little plastic hammer and drill and everything. So you've got to find a way to overcome. It's really hard to fucking do carpentry when you're using Play-Doh nails, guys. It's really hard. This is a wild drop from uThermal, by the way, just going right through. This might get him. The thing is, if he can just slowly siege the tanks, the Marines put themselves in a very compromised position. There's no escape. So uThermal, notice uThermal forces the siege, tank sieges, shuffles out of it. So he's trying to just basically do damage, and when he gets pushed out of that zone, pull back, do damage in the zone that he's in, pull back, do damage in the zone that he's in. And I've never seen someone handle these situations as well as Clem. While dropping on the other side, uThermal hasn't got any turrets or anything, but look at that, his Marines went a bit too far forward. He's got to move his tanks down there. Oh, bad building placement. This is so common in high-level Terrans. You got to remember, guys, that high-level Terrans, they click really fast, but they still haven't figured out fundamental building placement. And that's because they if you're using plastic tools, like, I mean, let's just say, I mean, you chose the race with plastic tools. They're not the sharpest tool in the shed, the Terran players themselves. Let's be real. So did lock his own tank in his production with some very sloppy building placement. Maru does the same thing regularly. Let's be real. Innovation never does. As much as I'm joking, Innovation was always the guy who always had the most perfectly planned base that was very consistent. He always left these really nice avenues between his buildings, and he would only put, say, 3 buildings in a column before he'd leave a 2-space gap. So he'd always have these nice roads and paths where you can move around your own base. Whereas Maru and Clem, Innovation is like organized efficiency, right? Clem and Maru are like chaotic, opportunistic kind of players. So for them, they're just like fucking going home and dropping buildings a little more haphazardly. Whereas Innovation is like, no. I know exactly which SCV will drop that building. It's like, I will use the SCV popping out and it will build it in that spot And I know where the add-on's gonna go. Good positioning by uThermal. uThermal's really making it hard for him to expand. I think my only issue here is that uThermal doesn't, I was about to say doesn't have as many bases as he could have. For having this much control, uThermal could have had extra command centers. uThermal was focusing on killing his opponent. Turns out, and I was like, and he might not be able to actually kill him. I was about to be like, and if Clem just gets a few more minutes into this game and keeps surviving, and at that moment you see like 100 Marines stim on that base, Clem was like, I'm dead. He was gonna lose his third base. So you could see Clem's a bit triggered, and notice he looked at the graphs there as well. So he sees that, okay, I was pretty behind for most of this in the resource collection rate. And that's because he fucked up. Remember, guys, he was not watching. He was talking to his chat. You could see him turn and talk to his chat, and then the Reapers came in. Let's hear what he's saying.
Took like a 5 hour nap or something. And now I woke up for ESL, but I don't feel in the best shape ever.
He says he took a 5-hour nap and then woke up for ESL. I think maybe this is the NA Cup they're playing in, actually. So he's just like, I don't feel the best right now. He's basically just like, I had a 5-hour nap to try to help, because Clem often stays up till like 5, 6, 7 in the morning to play the North American Weekly. He's young, he can bounce back, but he's definitely got some weird sleep schedule going on. So this was actually an EU Cup. Yo-Yo confirms for me in the chat. But his sleep schedule was just all messed up, probably for other tournaments he was playing. Yeah. So does he completely skip the scout again? So guys, I always look around for proxies with the Barracks SCV. A lot of the top pro gamers never do it. Cure is actually a fan of just straight up SCV scouting. Even with this very safe one-base double gas build where you get a quick factory, Q will just send an SCV across the map, so he knows what he's up against. But Clem likes to play a bit more blind, likes to save that minerals, have a bit more efficiency at the cost of information. Chat saying they've got the old man gamer's sleep schedule. Sleep at 10, wake up at 7 or 8. That's a lot of sleep. That's the way to do it. I'm 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. normally. I like the old man life. It's nice. Sleep's amazing. I bet these pros have strict diets and an exercise routine. Pretty sure Clem's smashing burgers, dude. Burgers and fries. I don't know. Maybe I gotta say, for one that's Clem's age, it all comes down to what mum's cooking, right? Clem's really young. I'm sure he's still living at home, eating whatever mum cooks for him. So I reckon he eats okay. But I think Raynor's out at home now. So Raynor's probably living on Domino's. Let's be real, they don't have... What in Italy would be the equivalent of Domino's? I don't think Domino's would do well in Italy, but and they've got to have some shit food. I don't know. Maybe he just goes to 7-Eleven. So let's be real. Raynor's probably eating that at the moment. Cyril probably eats 80% like reindeers that he's gone and hunted himself out in the the woods of Finland. So he's probably on like a kind of carnivore diet or something like that. Marine Lord probably just eats baguettes and cheese. I don't know. But yeah, I think it really varies per game to per game. Like Showtime is probably out there eating nuts and fruit and fucking kale, right? Yeah, I think it really varies player to player. You guys are got to remember that. Obviously, there's not that much money in StarCraft. So it does end up with a much more casual pro scene than something that has a lot more money. And that's how every sport works. Every competitive activity works. Something that the more I've been involved in StarCraft, the more I've been a fan of different sports and competitive activities, you realize like the more money there is and the more eyeballs, the competition level just gets raised. Because it just draws in more hardcore people who are willing to make more sacrifices. But most players don't really have like much of like a coach or anything like that. I know Team Liquid, uThermal and Clem both on Team Liquid. definitely, of course, do have a bit more access to that sort of stuff, but most of the players don't. And they might actually get a bit of consultation with dietitians and mentality coaches and stuff, but I would still think most of their efforts would be focused on their other teams rather than StarCraft. That's a fuck ton of Reapers. uThermal is just a crazy man. Drilly boys get a good surround though, and the Hellions get in the mineral line. He needs something behind the SCVs actually shooting, but he gets in. Did he literally just win because the wall was down, guys? So this is literally a game where if uThermal just raises his depot, he wins. But I guess they both ran in at the same time. That's literally the difference, though, right? They did the exact same build. This is actually the funniest game I've ever seen. Think about this, guys. At this exact moment, uThermal is moving out down the right side of the map. They're both doing the exact same reacted Barracks Reaper Hellion YOLO, and they both just cross on different sides of the map, and they hit at almost identical timings. Look, so he goes in with his Hellions just a couple seconds earlier. He sees the army, he pulls back, and then he changes his mind and he clicks on the minimap. Now you might have missed because you see him pull back, right? But watch the minimap. So he's going to notice he pulls back. I'm trying to catch the mouse movement. So he's going to reselect his army. He just reselected it. In that fraction of a second, he reselected it, and his mouse cursor is there. And you can tell he's right-clicking that on the ramp of his opponent, just up there. And you barely catch it. And then he's literally turned the army around and then gone back to focusing on defense. And he gets the depots up just in time, as well as evacuating the SCVs. uThermal doesn't get to evacuate the SCVs, so he knows Clem can go back down there and kill every SCV. And the thing is, he loses a lot of his Reapers. So it's hard for him to even finish off the SCVs. With the Marines popping out there as well and another Hellion, he's going to lose all of his SCVs. Clem's economy is fine. Holy shit. That's such a funny thing. Yeah, the mouse moves so fast. It's really incredible. I think he streams 60 frames. Oh, he even does 1440p. Oh wow. I'm still on 1920 man myself. 1920 by 1080. 1080p. They make so many fast decisions, it blows my mind, says Artbob. Yeah, a lot of these are baked in, right? They're not even conscious decisions. It's like you know, it's pulling little set plays and reactions that have been deeply practiced and programmed. So much of it is muscle memory, right? And pattern recognition. It's this intuitive thing. So I think that's one of the big things if you guys are playing, no matter what level you are, just remember a lot of the split-second reactions are actually decided usually over 10 minutes, poring over a replay, going, what should I have done here? When I saw this, should I have done that? And then making a decision and going, next time I see this, I'm going to do it bam, 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 just like that. So quickly, so suddenly, because you've decided it and you've committed it to memory, a set play, and you maybe even then practiced it a few times in a replay or in a custom game, right? So, and then you recognize that pattern and you're literally going into the filing cabinet of your brain and you're pulling that play out and you're just like, doop, that one, and you're just executing. And it's really cool because I remember, you know, there was that StarCraft, was it the National Geographic thing, whatever, where they were studying the brain activity. They're like, there's so much decision making going on in this was StarCraft 1. We're gonna go to pro gamers and like look at their brain, and they're like looking at their brain while they're playing, and they're like, oh, the decision making parts aren't lighting up. They're like, we thought it would be going crazy. They're like, nah, it's just pattern recognition, dude. There are scenarios where there is still a lot of decision making, and recognizing which pattern is also its own thing, because in StarCraft, right, it never matches perfectly. Every situation's a little bit different. So sometimes you're taking two different things and you're splicing them together, or you think it's something but you made a misread. There is obviously decision making and reads that goes on, but it's funny how so much of it is you're kind of programming yourself, right? You know, you're trying to make sure there is stimulus response, bam, bam, and you know exactly what to do because there's just no time for hesitating, right? And this is why we always say it's better to play dumb StarCraft well. Just confident, dumb decisions in StarCraft is actually usually better than to be umming and ahhing, right? Even if you make some kind of suboptimal decisions, there are so many options that you can make in StarCraft. So when you're learning, it's much more about understanding, like picking a decision confidently and doing it, and then understanding how that affects the game so that you can adapt from there. Whether it's, oh, you know what, this other thing would have been better. Maybe you realize that and you start doing that in the replay afterwards. You're like, okay, I could have done this better thing. But you've got to be able to constantly adapt and just constantly adapt. And that's why you need to just be able to understand the board state, right? So a lot of it is like, okay, let's learn a build. Let's learn a strategic line. This counters that. That's good versus that. Oh, it's a Viking tank push. uThermal's going all in, guys. He's doing my all in. Yeah, he's doing a tank Viking all in. So he's done tank elevator into the tank Viking all in. I think I just learned something, guys. I think I've already learned how I'm changing my tank Viking all in. So uThermal's not going Ravens. He's done a great little tank drop here. He's going to save the tank as well because he knows the Cyclone was coming in. Oh, he didn't pick up the tank. He took a bit more damage than he should have. But there's going to be Viking tank coming now. And I think Clem should realize what he's up against. So he's going to move out front because he knows if he lets these tanks siege up on him, opponent's got the air advantage. And then the Vikings can knock his Raven out of the sky and the tanks are going to be really effective. So Clem now realizes this is a fight for space. Because that Raven, yeah, so see, look, he gets forward and he jumps on the tank before the other tanks. Where are the other tanks? But there should be a third tank by now. I'm surprised there was no third tank, but yeah, uThermal is going for a very aggressive Viking tank push. It's been stopped in its tracks. uThermal needs to switch gears. Often when a player doesn't commit to Ravens like this, though, they feel kind of all in. I actually think the best play here for uThermal is two-part. Number one, keep your army out there, try to rotate a little bit, just be careful to not get caught. Number two, he should split two Vikings and get them ready to go in for landing harassment. He's going to keep pushing the issue. Will he get it? Ooh, he's going to kill that tank. He's killed. Okay, they trade tank for tank. The Vikings give such an edge here for pushing back. Remember, the series is tied up 1-1. Next map, this map wins it. Whoever wins this map wins the series and continues in the cup. Ooh. Okay. He's getting ready to flank this position. He's even pulling the drilly boys. He knows he's got to get rid of this position. Cyclone up front and tanking, though. Oh, man. Raven does nothing. He tries to pull the SCVs. He gets the tank just before it picks up. That auto turret from the right was actually very effective. So Clem here pulls the SCVs because you cannot let these tanks reinforce. So this is the important thing. Well, why is he pulling SCVs? Why is he so going out and fighting this? If he lets 3 or 4 tanks get outside his ramp, and there's Vikings, so he can't drop out or anything, he just gets kind of crushed backwards. And because he's never going to catch up on the Viking count, right? So the moment they're in a standoff with tanks, it's uThermal who can push back the Ravens and have the air vision. And it's Clem who's going to have to be dropping scans non-stop. And oh, uThermal's so clever! I never thought of doing this. And this is the advantage of having the medevac with it from early on, is you can then be like, lol, I'm going to drop 2 tanks in your main and land my Vikings there. So even if you say your tank count gets depleted, but you've got a good Viking count, you can do the switcheroo. Very, very cute. Clem handles it flawlessly, though. Rebuilding that third CC up here. Ooh-wee. Ah! Oh my god, this is a crazy push from uThermal, but Clem, I think a bit too much Raven energy. Yeah, he holds, and he keeps, and notice how he pulls his Ravens back. Every fight, he drops his spells and cues his Ravens back to safety, so they're not dying. So he's actually getting value. Whereas what uThermal wants is he wants you to drop auto turrets maybe one time, but then you lose all your Ravens and you're fucked. Clem keeps building Ravens. Just because he knows he's never going to catch up on the Viking count, but the ability to keep dropping auto turrets is turning these fights. And I always abandon Raven production in this scenario if I'm in his shoes. I try to keep him alive, I try to drop the auto turrets, but he just keeps building Ravens because in this scenario you have so little production, right? And he's like, I just gotta hang on, man. Command center finishes! He can lift that and run it, but there's a lot of guys here. And honestly, I actually think Clem should have gone out further and fought this outside his base a bit earlier. His Ravens go in and die. So So he fucks up with the Ravens that time, but he otherwise crushes the fight, so I don't think it matters. He's got the third up. He's doing good. He's got still Ravens building. He finally swaps it now that he's pushed this army. He's like, okay, we're good. Stim's about to kick in. Shields will be on the way. I'm going to 5 barracks. I'm still building depots. Why? He's on autopilot right now, guys. Clem is just like, keep doing things, keep doing things, keep doing all the macro things. I'm counter pushing, but my base is a mess. Build depots. He hasn't even put back on gas in the main yet. That's how kind of frantic and disorganized he is right now. So one could argue he's a little, should be a little more focused on this. He's definitely macroing kind of like I do in this sort of circumstance. Obviously better than me, but I mean, it's the same thing where it's not as clean as you expect Clem to be. uThermal has no fucking units though. Yeah, uThermal's just dead. He's got him. And if you just, like I said, once the first push got held, it was always going to be a little desperate. The non-stop tank Viking, it's a very cute style. You can beat a player much better than you with this. Clem always does this style as an emergency. If he's behind in a game and he thinks he's dead, he'll go non-stop tank Viking and see if he can pull something out. I do this all the time when I'm playing people better than me in the weekly cups as well, and I actually base it off Clem doing it desperately from behind. I actually much prefer the way uThermal's done it, where uThermal, you could tell, was heading for this build from the start, set up with the tank drop, save the tank, save the medevac, and then has just kind of moved on forwards. And he was trying to go for a 4th CC and what appears to be a mech transition. So this was a bit of a mistake. Notice we haven't seen any Hellions yet. Now, in this scenario, you can make it work as uThermal, but it's really important for you to get your extra factories down, a reactor on one of those factories, and to pump Hellions. Because if you don't have Hellions, you just have no buffer, you have excess minerals that you can't spend.
Okay, that was nice.
That's stressful, dude. It's stressful, isn't it?
Triple factory tank. Triple barrack into
And you can see, yeah. Wait. Did he have multiple barracks?
Okay, that was nice. Nice.
Fuck's he got multiple barracks for?
Factory tank.
Did he go 3 barracks Marine rally with his push from the start?
Triple barrack into triple factory.
I think uThermal was thinking of it as such an all-in. He was like, yeah, I'll just build 3 unupgraded Marines at a time. Super all-in.
Okay, that was nice. He was going mech, triple factory tank. Triple barrack into triple factory tank. That was a scary game to play because I knew what he was doing. I knew he was going no Raven, straight to Vikings, and like very aggressive. But I wasn't sure how to properly counter it. But okay, that was nice.
That was nice. He said, I knew he was doing it. No Raven, very aggressive. Wasn't sure exactly how to counter it. I do think maybe after the first hold, he just needed to keep a bit more vision of where that army was coming from and stay out front his base. I really think once he let the second siege up happen, it looked a little dicey, but he brought it together in the end. I kind of like the continual Raven production where he's like, I'm going to build 6 Ravens, man. They're going to keep dying. We're going to keep dropping auto turrets. Obviously, you could hear a little bit of judgment in his voice about the like 3 barracks into 3 factory tank, because let's be real, this is a super shit setup. But I think it speaks to just how all-in uThermal was, and that he was like, I'm going to have extra minerals. I might as well rally something. 3 barracks, go. Because he has no gas to spare for a second factory. Early on, it was just 1 factory, 1 starport, pumping units. But over time, he's like, oh, I have money for a 3rd command center. Oh, I have money for a 4th. Shit, I should take more gases and factories because I haven't won the game yet. But it was kind of an all-in from uThermal. Didn't quite pay off. Very close, though. And the way he was lifting the tanks and dropping those and using it with Viking lands, so cool. Bloody beautiful play. And a nice best of 3, one to learn from. Well played.